Welcome back to another tutorial with Wr.Milson. The username is Wr.Milson because Mr. Wilson was taken, and here we are. You might have already seen my last video, which I'll link here in case you haven't, which is how to make a escape room using Google Forms. Today we're going to be using Google Slides. Both are great, both have their ups and downs, but today let's just hop on in right away to some Google Slide work. So what you're going to want to do is obviously go to Google Slides. You're going to create a blank presentation, top left, and now we can get started. So I'm going to leave my first kind of home page here with some text because I know I'm going to use text. And then for the other ones, I'm just going to make this slide blank, and I'm going to copy that and paste it so that I have a bunch of blank slides. For an escape room, you're going to want a bunch of slides because obviously if it's more complicated or you're trying to make it detailed, you're going to go to a bunch of different slides, different kind of rooms maybe. And so you're going to want to have these slides blank so that you can just add whatever text you want or add any images to it, and there's no text there already. So yeah, I've copied a bunch of those so that they're there, and I've pasted them so that now I can use those later. But for my first slide, I'm going to do a welcome slide. So welcome to my escape. Okay, and the difference I would say between Google Slides and Google Forms, the biggest difference is the fact that for Google Slides, it's really important to establish that students or whoever's completing this form shouldn't be using their arrow keys. So what that means is that they should only be clicking on an escape room that's a Google Slides escape room. All right, so that can be a little bit complicated because you need a little bit of honesty, and students could actually press the arrow keys and accidentally skip something or move past something. But in general, if they're being honest, it's lots of fun, and still, I recommend using Google Slides, but that's maybe why I might move towards a Google Form. If you know that you don't want people to be able to kind of click the arrows and skip stuff, Google Forms will lock them in, and they cannot get past stuff until they have the right answer. But let me show you an example of that just so that you understand a little more. Here is a survivor escape room I created a while back. And you can see here from the beginning, if I present this, I make it really clear that you need to click to advance. So I say, you may only click to advance. Click, just like that, click, 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 click. Okay, perfect, you understand. So I've established the fact that students or whoever's completing this are going to be clicking in order to advance. They're not going to press the arrow keys. And then in this case, you can see that in an upcoming slide, I made a little bit of a find the hidden immunity idol challenge. And in the case here, what you do is you click around and you see, okay, I can't find anything. I'm clicking. I'm not finding it. But if I were to just use with one finger here, I'm going to click the arrow key. Boom. I'm on to the next slide, and I cheated, and now I can see the idol. So this is one of the downsides where if you're using arrows, you can either skip ahead or you could accidentally mix up your order and go to a wrong slide by pressing the arrow keys. But yeah, if I go back, what was supposed to happen is you click the right spot. I clicked the middle here. I found the idol, and I found the code by clicking on the idol. Okay, so that's just a little FYI so that you know Google Forms, you don't need to tell them to click through. Google Slides, you do need to tell them not to use the arrows and to click through. So I'm going to establish that from the beginning, and I'm going to write right here, do not use arrow keys, click through only, something like that. Okay, whatever you want to do, you're establishing the fact that they are clicking through this escape room. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that you want to make sure you kind of mapped out your escape room. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I already explained it in my Google Form video. If you want to see some of my planning that I've done for that, you can go and watch that video. But what you do want to do is kind of know what images you're going to add and what kind of theme you're going to have for your escape room. In this case, I'm going to do a general classroom escape room, and I've already added some images. So I'm going to go Insert, Image, and in my drive, I have created here if I go to my drive and I've created an escape room folder, escape room tutorial. And then I can just drag my images in or click them in, and they'll go right into my Google Slides. Now, one thing that is nice about Google Slides is it's really easy to copy and paste between different, websites or areas where you might get your images. So you don't always need to upload all of your images to Google Drive, whereas for a Google Form, you do need to do that. Okay, so if I'm going here, one of the most important images, I believe, for an escape room on Google Slides is a nice arrow key. Okay, and that's because students aren't using arrows, their arrow keys on their computers. So instead, we need to make sure that they're going to click on the arrow to move on to the next section. So on this second slide, I'm going to go ahead and I'll just add a text box, slide 2. And on this third slide, I'll add insert slide 3, just so that you know, and you can see when we're moving between slides for now. You don't actually need to do this, but for the purpose of the tutorial, I think it'll be important. Okay, so now we're getting into the kind of the fun, I guess you could say it's kind of like coding where things are going in our escape room. So we're going to use a lot of shapes in our Google Slides escape room. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a square shape right from the get-go, okay? And I'm gonna go and put that square all the way over my slide, completely covering my slide so that I can't see anything. Now you're like, what? Where'd my whole presentation go? Well, what's happened is now that this shape is there, it isn't transparent. So I do need to make it transparent. And what I'll do is I'll click on it and I'm gonna go to this fill bucket color thing and go down to the bottom and click transparent. And now I can see everything again, but you'll notice if I click on my slide, I can't click on anything. I can't click on my arrow. I can't click on any of this stuff. If I present right now, what's gonna happen is if I click anywhere, it's just gonna go to slide 2, okay? And I don't want this to be the case. I don't wanna click anywhere and just move on to slide 2. What I want to happen is I click on the arrow and then I'm able to move on to the next slide. So the reason why we're using all these shapes is because it's really easy to link shapes in Google Slides. So if I right click or on a Mac, I double click, 2-finger click, I'm going to press this link button, and you can see here, you can select or you can type in what slide you want to link it to. So this is called Welcome to My Escape. So I'm gonna go slide 1 and I'm gonna click, and now this shape that's over my first slide is linked to this first slide. So what that means is when I click on this, click, I'm clicking everywhere, it keeps me on this page. If I linked it instead to slide 3, for example, okay, slide 3, now when I play and I click anywhere, it's gonna bring me to slide 3. Okay, so just to understand what I was doing there is making sure that I'm linked to my own slide, my home slide there, welcome, and that way I can't go anywhere. Okay, so I'm on my escape room, I can't go anywhere. So now what are we gonna do to make sure that we actually can go somewhere with my arrow? I'm going to make sure that I add another image, and you could do just another square on top of your arrow key, but there is an arrow shape, so why don't we add that arrow shape? And I'm gonna put it on top of my arrow, try to make it kind of similar, boom, something like that. And I don't love the fact that you can see that arrow. I don't like this arrow, I like the arrow image that I've already found. So instead of using this arrow, what I'll do is I will make this transparent, and you can still see the border of that arrow. So I'm also gonna make sure that the border color, which is right beside that fill bucket color, border color is also transparent. And now I have this arrow on top of the arrow that someone could click on to go somewhere. And I'm gonna link this arrow link to, let's say, slide 3, okay? Because maybe I wanna save slide 2 for something else, okay? And I'm just showing you this to show you that in a Google Slides, you're linking stuff and you're keeping track of where it's going, and it won't always be in order. So I'm actually gonna skip over slide 2, and if I go present, now I can click anywhere, I'm not gonna go anywhere, but as soon as I click on this arrow, it'll bring me to slide 3, okay? So I'm just showing you that you can link to different slides, and then you can have fun and be creative with that. Okay, so now that I'm in another slide, it's all about deciding where you're gonna go with it, to add your images, and then put on top your shapes, and decide where you kind of wanna code or program your different slide, where you want it to go. In this case, let's do a classic escape room activity, and that would be, so we're on slide 3. I'll remove that now that we know that that's slide 3. And I'm gonna add 2 doors, okay? So I'm gonna go image, and I'm gonna press image. I'm gonna go to my drive, and I'm gonna add this black door, and I'm gonna do it again, insert, I'm gonna go image, and I'm gonna go to my drive, and I'm gonna insert a brown door. Okay, so I have these 2 doors, all right? And maybe you want to add text that says something like pick a door. So maybe I'll just do that for fun. Pick a door. Okay, and now, just like I did before, I'm going to go ahead and add that shape on top of this whole slide, because I'm happy with my presentation. I'm happy with the images I've chosen. And now I want to kind of be able to decide where I'm going to go. So I'll put a shape on top here of the whole thing. And yet again, it should cover it so that you don't see anything. And we're just gonna make sure that it's transparent so that I can, in fact, see the 2 doors. Okay, and then maybe I'm thinking ahead and I'm gonna go slide 4 is going to be the black door. Okay, so I'm gonna insert here for now, maybe text to say black door. And I'm gonna say that if you click on this brown door, you lose. You lose the game, okay? You lose the escape room for some reason. So why don't we go back to our slide 2 now and make this one the game over slide, okay? And so on my game over slide, maybe I'll want to add an image, insert image from my drive. That's an X to be like, good game, you lost, so sad, okay? And then if I go back to my black door, which was, yay, you passed, you made it through the escape room for some reason. It's a quick escape room that only has 2 doors. And I go and I upload a check mark and I say, wow, you made it. Black door was the right option. You made it, you win. Okay? And instead of black door, we'll just say, you win. Okay? And so now I go back here and I need to now make it so that if I click on any of these doors, it'll go to wherever I want it to go. Right now, what I'll do is with my shape, I'll make sure it's linked to its own slide. You see, I'm doing this again. I link it to slide 3, which is the slide it's currently on, so that way, if I go into my presentation, I'm clicking around, okay, I'm gonna stay on slide 3. I'm not gonna accidentally go to the next slides. But I want to be able to make sure that either door goes other places as well. So I'm also going to insert more shapes. We'll use that square again, and this time I'll make a shape here for this door, and then I'll insert another shape, and it's gonna be that square again, and I'll insert a shape over this door as well. Okay, and then again, I'm gonna make sure that this is transparent. This one is also, I'm gonna make sure it's transparent. And you can see there it has the outline still, so you see the outline. So just like I did for the arrow, I'm gonna make sure that the outline is also transparent so that you can't even see the fact that there's a shape there. Okay, so now you can see I can click anywhere and I can click on the shapes above the 2 doors. This shape, we said the black door was gonna be the win, so we'll link it to our arrow key, which is on slide 4, or our check mark. Slide 4. So now if I click on this, it'll bring me to you win, and I want to make sure that this one is you lose. So I'll link it to slide 2, which is my loss. So slide 2, and now if I go into here, you see if I click the brown one, you lose, game over, okay? And if I go into this again and I click the black one, you win, okay? Now, that's just to show you how easy it is to kind of go to different slides, and you can be as creative as you want with that. The other thing that I'd say is really important is if you want students or whoever's completing this escape room to be able to go back to the beginning and try it again, you're gonna want some kind of a home key, okay? So I actually don't think I added an image already for home, but maybe I'll add an arrow again, okay? And maybe you can find a better like home button to bring you back. And maybe I'll just put some text here to say, go back to home, okay? And I'll just drag that up, go back to home. So then they know, okay, if I click on this arrow here, it'll bring me back to the beginning. And then, again, it's just a lot of this inserting those shapes. I'll insert a big square over top of all of this so that they can't click and just go wherever they want. We're gonna go ahead again and make sure that this is transparent and that this is transparent. Okay, one thing you can also do is once you kind of create all of your images and all of your slides, then at the end, you can just copy and paste the shapes on top and then link them to where you wanna go. That's a much faster workflow. I actually recommend doing that, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going one step at a time. And then I wanna make sure that I insert a shape that is an arrow as well. And I'll go ahead and put that right here, kind of make it like that so that it can go right on top, boom. And same thing, I wanna make sure that that is also transparent and that you cannot see the outline. And then I'll link this arrow to go back to the very first slide, slide 1, which was welcome to my escape, okay? And then there you go, now we have a little mini escape room. So if I go to the beginning here, and I can just test to make sure it works. I click anywhere, it doesn't bring me anywhere. If I click on this arrow, it goes to the door. Now, if I went to the brown door, it would say game over. and I can go back to home and I can restart my escape room. And then this time I know, oh, I'm not gonna click the brown door, I'm gonna go to the black door, and I'm gonna win my escape room. So there you go. That's how you can make escape rooms on Google Slides. It's all about linking stuff. You can also use this in presentations. If you're a student and you're like wanting to make something creative for a teacher, maybe you wanna make a slide that you can click between and go to fun stuff like that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.